All right, what's up, everybody? Thank you again for joining us on the Bo Knows Real Estate Podcast. My name is Bo Bullard. I'm with Pioneer Title Agency here in beautiful Prescott. And I'm telling you, get a pen, get a notepad, because these two are going to blow this episode up. So we're going to get into it here, but basically this conversation is going to be how to become a successful real estate professional. So like I said, take some notes. We're going to jump right in. So James, everybody's familiar with you. You've been on the podcast a few times.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself for anybody who's a new listener.
James Mitchner, Prescott, Arizona real estate agent. I run a team of 7 agents. We do anywhere from 200 to 300 deals a year. I have 26 rental properties and a passive income of a little over $300,000 a year from doing real estate sales. And have my good friend here, Sean Miller, who's a good mentor of mine, and he's owned a brokerage in Burbank, California.
Correct.
And ended up selling that when he was 33. Cashed in on that, put some money into investments, real estate investments, became a pilot. And now he's back selling real estate and having some fun with it, helping mentor a lot of my own team members and myself as well. And he's just been a huge add-on into my life and into my career. So I'm really excited about this, Bo. He knows objections. He knows how to build a business. He knows how to get an agent from beginning to end to, not successful to successful. He's just a great guy that's been able to help me with my team members getting them to success and my students getting on to success. And he's a wealth of knowledge. I'm excited about it. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're really excited to have you on, Sean. Just kind of introduce yourself to everybody that doesn't know you.
Gotcha. Sean Miller, friend of these two, and started in real estate when I was 20 years old. I was on my own at 16 and had a friend who was very successful in real estate. That's a whole nother story, but got into the business at 20, couldn't yet order alcohol. Started with a brokerage. One of my brokers came to me one day and said, I'm going to have to figure it out on my own. And I didn't really appreciate that too much.
Yeah.
So did figure it out on my own. Ended up opening my own company with my partner. Gosh, how many years later? That was 89. Less than 5 years later, we opened up our own brokerage. And 7 years later, we were sold. So that led me to kind of an early retirement, moved me out to Prescott, pursued some long dreams of becoming a pilot, took some time off, and then figured I'm most valuable in the real estate business, and I love it. So I do it.
And you're good at it, too.
Appreciate that.
So let's start from what you said when somebody said you're going to have to figure this out on your own. Because when I first started in real estate, I know my brokers and the people that were around me were like, hey, you need to do sphere of influence stuff. You need to post on social media, do some open houses. And I did that, right? And it didn't really turn out, but there was a coach there that said, hey, you need to sit your butt down for 2 to 4 hours a day and just dial and dial and dial until you get some stuff going. I thought to myself, there's no way I'm going to do this. I was already at Grand Canyon University, sitting in a cubicle, dialing for hours. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to do what everybody else said, which honestly, the reason I was going to do that is because there's an easy way out, right? And when I was at Grand Canyon University, I was their top producer. I was called the golden boy there, right? Because I did the calls, I did the follow-up, and they're like, how do you do it? I'm like, well, I just call the same person over and over again if they're interested, right? Like, it's no-brainer. Empathize with them, like, just build a rapport, become a friend, and yeah, it just works out that way. But I didn't want to do that again in real estate until like 6 months into my career. So, and you're a big proponent of like figuring it out and doing prospecting. So how do you figure it out? How did you figure that out?
Well, my story was similar, but a little bit different. And before real estate, I worked at a company called ITT Financial, and it was collections.
Yeah.
So my job every day was calling people, and you owe us money.
That's fun.
So one of the jokes I tell agents, and you guys really should take this to heart, is nothing in real estate really bothers me in terms of objections, because very rarely do I have people threatening to kill me in real estate. Yeah. My job before real estate, when I would call Bo and say, Bo, this is the 18th time I've called you, Bo would threaten to kill me.
Yeah.
So my reference point is I'm being threatened with violence. Was the objection.
Yeah.
So getting into real estate, it was really for me, it was a matter of eating. There was no fallback. At ITT Financial, when they found out I was getting my real estate license, they fired me. Oh. So I went from a job to no job. And I think it was about a week later, I had my real estate license in hand. So figuring it out was a matter of eating. It was a matter of just thinking, okay, well, every deal I'm going to do is going to involve people. And I went to some training, went to some seminars, but for me, it was as simple as I need to talk to people.
Yeah.
So I needed to learn for sure.
Yeah.
But I can't be afraid of that at all.
Yeah.
And again, I'm coming out of being threatened. So
Yeah.
having somebody say not yet or get off my porch was nothing to me.
So at 20 years old, you're starting in real estate. You're going from a paycheck to no paycheck. How did you get going? What was the first things that you decided to launch?
Told to do open houses. I was doing some open houses, taking uptime.
Yeah.
Uptime drove me nuts.
Is that referred to as office time?
Yeah,
as well?
sit on the phone and wait for it to ring, and there is nothing in my personality that is sit and wait.
Me either.
So I probably did that 6 or 8 times when I started saying, don't put me on that schedule anymore. I'd rather go door knock.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would say to everybody out there, you can wait for business to come to you or you can go get it. Again, they're all just people.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't take sign calls on my listings. I know how to handle that,
Yeah.
but I simply do not like waiting for business to come to me.
Yeah, and that's funny you say that because I was the same way. I was like so bored. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm just waiting for my phone to go like ring off the hook, and it's not happening. So I changed it to I'm gonna go hunting this morning, right? I'm gonna hunt. So and hunting for me wasn't obviously bringing a gun and going hunting. It was I'm gonna pick up my phone, pick up a list, start calling that list, and I'm gonna hunt for the next client that I can work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whose prayers can I answer this morning to be able to help them buy or sell a house, you know? And that I just changed it from whose prayers can I answer, and hunting, I need to go hunting now. I told my wife, hey, I'm leaving, I'm going hunting for business, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Do that, sit in an office for literally 4 hours at a time. So what did you call first?
Probably more door knocking than anything else.
Oh, you did?
Door knocking and cold
Yeah.
calling, probably the same. Did some expired work, did some for sale by owners. I'm a huge advocate of working expireds. The way I would do expireds was I would go knock on their door and knock the block.
Oh, nice.
So I hate travel time. I always figure I'm getting paid less than zero in my car. So if I can find a house or two houses that's an expired, go visit it.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, they're not home or they're mad, but you're already there. You can already go door knock. You can already go preview.
Yeah.
So I would use that as an opportunity to preview and look for vacant houses at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm out there knocking the expired, door knocking, looking for vacant houses.
Yeah.
So I have a question. When you were doing hunting, I mean, and that's exactly what I was going to say. That was the exact word that I was going to use was, especially right now after the COVID markets of if you had a pen and a pulse, you were doing deals, right? When you actually have to go out and hunt, do you find that that has evolved over time? Do you think that door knocking is still as effective, or do you think that there are new ways to hunt that are just as good, if not better?
My simple answer to that is that I think the water finds its level. If something is easier, my competition will make it easier also.
Yes.
So where the technology makes for a triple dialer, my competition has a triple dialer also.
Right.
Yeah.
So if more people are doing door knocking, then it gets saturated. I think more people are cold calling now than they were 7-8 years ago for sure,
Yeah.
because when the market dries up, there's more of them.
Okay.
So my simple answer is it gets saturated one way or another, but you have to do something. You and I have talked about this. Do what you will do.
Yeah.
You have to talk to people every day.
And there's a couple of points to what you just said, right? Like if your competition's going to go to where the feeding is, right?
Yeah.
And if you can just go outside of that, just even a little bit, and are there a lot more people cold calling and calling canceling expires? Sure, but do they have the same skill level as you? And we'll get back to a point where you said that you went to go home until you had all your questions answered, or you kind of mastered your objections here in just a little bit. But one of the things when it comes to door knocking is it as effective? You know, going from like going around a neighborhood, probably less effective because people probably aren't answering their doors as much and they have the Ring doorbells, but if you're taking canceled and expired listings just for that neighborhood and you're door knocking those, then they've already raised their hand that they want to sell and they're already good to go. That's what I used to do. I would go to Quailwood and then I'd go to Country Club. Anything that had canceled or expired for that month, I was going to go door knock them. Did I like it? No, not really. Did I get a lot of doors slammed on my face? Yeah. Did I get listings? Hell yeah. Heck yeah, I did. Like, I got a lot of business. And one of those guys, I door knocked him there for sale by owner. She goes, my husband was a real estate agent. We're going to for sale by owner it ourselves. So I was like, okay, well, if you need me, let me know. But I got their phone number. So I kept calling them, door knocked them again. I sold 7 transactions for them. And then they gave me 10 other referrals in the lifetime that I've known them.
Yeah.
So just use it to like your advantage. Like if you're going to go door knocking, pull all the expireds and cancels from maybe the last year, make sure that they haven't listed, and go make the most out of your time.
Make the most out of your time.
Yeah.
I love it when I can combine efforts.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, because that feels like free money to me already.
Absolutely.
And I've talked to you about this. If you're going to mail to a farm, I don't really like direct mail at all.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think it's well spent. If it was that easy, I would just do that.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to go door knock, I might as well leave a piece, and I
Yeah.
figure you're saving the money on the postage anyway.
For sure.
And you're getting exercise. We've talked about that too. Might as well.
Stealth health.
Stealth health.
Stealth health.
So you're saving money, you're getting some exercise, you're getting out there,
Yeah.
you're finding vacant homes, which are easy leads,
Yeah.
and you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Let's talk about the leads that you're calling that are rude, right? And I think this is such an important thing that you taught me is call the people that are rude. And why do I call the people that are rude, Sean? Why?
Because they're scaring away my competition.
Because they're scaring away the competition. Because if somebody is mean to you, they're going to be mean to everybody else. And the more you follow up with them, the more rapport you're going to build, and the more likely that wall is going to break down. And you're probably going to be the only person, the only agent that's been following up with them. So guess what? You get the first swing at the listing.
And those are my favorite. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but if I got 5 leads,
Yeah.
I would rather all 5 of them be rude to me.
I had a guy I was calling last week while I was training one of our team members, Laura, and the guy goes, I'll try to make this nice, right? He goes, why don't you go suck a you know what and F off? And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I just put him in my follow-up for 5 days later. Laura's like, you're going to follow up with him? I'm like, yeah. He won't remember that I said that. He's been getting hammered by a lot of other agents. And so he's upset, and I would be upset as well. But the point is I'm going to call him in a week, and he's not going to remember that I said that. And honestly, I've done that. And I followed up with them, and they're like, hey, were you one of those agents that I told to go suck a you know what? I'm like, yeah, actually you were. I didn't do that, but I did want to make sure I followed up with you, right? So,
yeah.
And I got the listing.
Yeah. I mean, that's huge. And so one thing I want to do real quick is I want to slow it down. And because right now there is so much information being just thrown at, it's like a tsunami right now, and I love it. And the one thing I want to make sure, though, is that if anybody's on the other side, so if you're listening or if you're watching this right now and you're thinking, I have no idea where to even start, and these guys are telling me all the things like objections, and this is what you need to go be doing. Let's just slow it down. If somebody's looking at this right now and say, you know what, I've been in real estate for 2 years, or I've been in real estate for 2 days, and I'm doing this for food. Like, I need to go out and make money.
Yeah.
And I was told that real estate was really good. I saw some of my friends get into real estate, 2-3 years ago, and they were killing it. But now it seems a little bit more challenging. Where should they start? What are the things that they should do, this week or this weekend to start drawing a plan out to actually go and execute this right now?
Yeah.
James, you start.
For me, it would be pull a list of cancel expireds and for sale by owners because they've already raised their hand and said that they want to sell.
Where can they find that?
So you can get that on Cole Realty, you can get that on Mojo, you can get that on Batch Leads, you can get that on Vulcan 7. You can get those cancel expireds, get the phone numbers, and then you could skip trace those as well. Or you could go to the title company and say, hey, can I get the phone numbers for these specific addresses if you want them for free? Right? So and I would just hand dial. That's what I did in the beginning is I just hand dial.
Just picked up your cell phone.
Or go on Craigslist and Zillow and get the for sale by owners. Make an Excel spreadsheet of the ones that you're calling because there's not a ton of them, but that's the least likely get called prospect of any because they're the meanest, right? But so there's less competition, but they've already raised their hand and said they want to sell. And I would just hand dial those until I could afford to get a dialer and get a CRM put in place. But the next thing you have to do is you have to get a CRM put in place, and you have to have a database to where you can organize everything, because I have lost so many listings by not being organized enough, not following up enough, not having enough touches, right?
Yeah.
And believe it or not, a lot of these people that you're calling, they're going to add you on social media as well. So you need to be posting on social media, which is free, and people will be following you and stealthily following up on you on what are you like? Are you somebody that I'd like to work with?
Yeah.
Are you doing business? Do you know the market? And the more that you're putting on social media, the more they're going to see that, and they'll be like, hey, and this happened to me. That's why I'm giving an example. Hey, I've been watching you on Facebook, been watching you on Instagram. You know what you're doing. You keep calling me. Let's meet and see if we can get the household together.
Yeah.
Perfect. You know, and Sean.
Yeah. Anything to add, Sean? Anything that somebody should to begin? Just to begin, first steps.
So my first question to a new agent or 2 years in business would be, are your bills due soon or way later? If your bills are due soon, you need to do business right now.
Yeah.
And that's where the expireds and for sale by owners come in. And we talked a little bit about buyers. I'm not a big advocate of going after buyers, but I will take a motivated buyer over an unmotivated seller every day of the week. So I don't discourage agents from selling a buyer. If you can take somebody out and sell them a home that weekend, then that's money in the bank. But you need to be very good at qualifying your buyers if you're going to go down that road. So qualifying your buyers, getting good leads. If you need right now business for sale by owners and expires are the way to go. There's not enough of them to keep you busy all day long. No. So then you're going after the other leads. And all of our leads are people. So as we have all these conversations, when I'm talking to people new to the business, I try to impress upon them, do not complicate it. Yeah. They're all just people. Yeah. So regardless of what box we put them in, they're all just people. One of the easiest things I think to do, and by the way, as I'm going to say this, I'm going to tell all agents out there, do not go down the road I'm about to tell you exclusively. You still need to door knock, cold call, talk to people. But one of the things I'm a huge advocate is go and learn the things you want to learn. Go take a class, go find a hobby, go find some like-minded people, go have some lunches with some people that you love.
Hire a mentor.
Because, go do these things that you love. In my heart, I don't do these things to get real estate business. I tell my wife this almost every single day.
Yeah.
We want to do these things anyway. We want to be with the people we love anyway, but it invariably leads to business. So do both of those things. Go pursue that thing you've been wanting to pursue. Have fun at it. And then keep your ears open. And then don't be afraid to talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And when people ask you, like, what do you do for work? Hey, I'm in real estate. You don't even have to ask them for a referral or anything. They're going to go, how's the market?
Yep.
What's going on? I heard the interest rates have gone up. It's going to be an organic thing. Let's talk about schedule, right? Because I think an important thing, if somebody's been in the business 2 days or they've been in the business 2 years, for me, it was always like buttoning down my schedule. Mm-hmm. And you had said this when we were talking off camera. You're like, even if you're going to work with a buyer, you still need to make time for your prospecting and the leads that are already coming in. Yeah. And so what does a good schedule look like for an agent?
I'm going to sound harsh here, but if you don't have anything else going on, your schedule is 8 hours a day of prospecting.
Yep.
Because your family needs to eat, you've got bills. There was a time, I kid you not, where my goal was 75 contacts a day. And that was hard to do. Whoa. That was super hard to do. Probably realistic, probably the lowest anybody should set their bar is about 25 contacts a day. And when I say contacts, I'm not talking about the buyers I'm already talking to or the leads I'm already talking to. I'm talking about new contacts. Yeah. And to me, a contact means somebody that I got the question out. Yeah. If I call and somebody hangs up on me, that doesn't count. Yeah. It's, did I get the question out? Are you thinking about selling your house? When do you think about selling your house? That's a contact. I think 25 is the minimum.
So do I.
And that's probably 2 to 3 hours a day of contacts.
Yep.
And then you should have appointments that you're going on and prepping for.
So what time do you start your calls? Like, when should you start your day?
I think 9 o'clock is reasonable. I can kind of get all the noise out of the way before 9 o'clock rolls around, so my head is clear.
Yeah. So I was super aggressive, right? And so I started at 9 o'clock when I first started. I'd be like, okay, got to get to the office at 9, give my wife a kiss. 8:30, I was out the door to get to the office. And then I started noticing that the canceled and expireds were being hit by other people starting at 8 o'clock. And I'm like, damn, okay.
Saturation.
Yeah,
saturation. And I'm like, okay, so if I go to 8:30, how many more people are calling at that hour? Okay, there's a lot less than at 9 o'clock. 8 o'clock, there's going to be even less people calling. Yeah. And then I found out that I started losing listings because there's one guy in our market that had to call at 7:30 or 7:45. And I'm like, dude, no way. I got to change my whole game now and start at 7:30, 7:45. It's not even light outside right now at that. Yeah. So what did I do? I transitioned, and I knew that if I was the first person to make that call and make contact with them, I got a 50% better rate of getting that person.
What was the answered calls rate when you called at 7:30? How many people that you called answered?
Good. Well, we're also in an older community, so people wake up at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And so it's noon time at 7:30, 8 o'clock, right? For a lot of these people. And they're up and at them and they're ready to go.
Noon,
and
they're having dinner.
Honestly, I thought I would get a lot of negative responses, but a lot of people are like, oh, wow, you're hungry, you're aggressive, you're calling at 7:30, 7:45. yeah, the house came off the market. I didn't even know it came off. You're the first call. Bingo,
Boom.
got it. They like me. They know I'm aggressive. They know that I need to put food on the table.
Yeah.
And so I would win. And I would set that appointment up for noon, 1 o'clock that day. And they hardly ever canceled. I would go get the listing. They're like, hey, I have 2 or 3 other people that called and set up appointments. Great. How did our appointment go? It went really well.
Yeah.
Can I call those other 3 people and let them know that they can be the first person to bring a buyer?
Yeah.
We'll get this signed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll do that for me? Yep, I'll cancel those appointments for you.
Yeah.
Send out some text message, some phone calls. Hey, I got the listing. You guys are welcome to bring the first buyer. Boom. So
That's
he makes a point that I think when you're new to the business or you're worried about bothering people.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest Achilles heel for a lot of real estate agents is I'm worried that I'm going to bother them if I call them at 7:30. And I'd like you to switch your mindset that you're going to gain more business than you lose. So yes, some people are going to be bothered, but some people are going to appreciate that you're working hard. So put yourself in the working hard category and know that you're going to gain more business than you lose.
And the other thing is, like, if they say it's too early, perfect. I'm putting them in my calendar for a follow-up call, which I don't start my follow-up calls until 8:30, right? 8:30, 9 o'clock. So they go in the follow-up section. It's going to be less people that I'm going to be following up with those people that don't want to be called that early in the morning later on in the day. So it'll take care of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So I want to go back to what we were talking about before a little bit. The COVID markets were crazy, right? I mean, people were buying and selling, low interest rates, relatively low home prices. I mean, it was on fire. It's got a little bit more challenging for agents in the last year or two. How do you guys stay motivated and inspired during a slow market to continue building business? We'll start with you.
Okay, so motivated and inspired. I love working. I love talking to people. I love hanging out with people. I love hanging out with my friend James.
Yeah.
So to me, I like to work. That might be hard to hear for some people. What am I going to do all day? I can only ride my bike for so long.
Yeah.
So for me, I like getting out and working and meeting people. And I like what you said about helping them. I've never seen myself as a salesperson trying to convince somebody to use me.
Yeah.
I've always thought that my job is to go find the people that are moving. And I know that sounds trite, but there are people that are moving with and without Sean Miller every day.
Yeah.
I just have to go find them. So if I'm just making it my day to go find that person, there's not a lot of sales involved until we start talking about listing presentations. That's a whole different thing.
Right.
Which is great because you make this point to me all the time when I'm just doing neighborhood cold calling, right? Mm-hmm. People are like, oh, what's a script you use? And really it's like, hey, this is James Mitchell. I'm with Realty One Group. I was just calling to see if you're looking to sell your house at XYZ Street. I do a lot of marketing in this neighborhood. So wanted to see if you're going to be looking to sell. No, I won't be looking to sell for 12 months, 24 months. I'm not going to follow up with that person like all the time, right? Then that one goes into a 30 to 45 day follow up. And then I'm trying to hit the warm leads, right? Like, who can I find that's a warm lead? But I'm asking one question: are you looking to sell? What's the time frame? Boom. I know if they're going to sell. I know what that time frame is. Yeah. If it's somebody that's 3 years, 5 years out, boom, they're getting maybe every 180 days I'll put them in.
Yeah.
But just like you say all the time, are they looking to sell now or how far down the line?
Right.
That's what I'm going to follow.
That's my simplest script.
Yeah.
One word script.
That. Yeah.
When.
Yeah.
if you can put in all your scripts when.
Yeah.
That's all. If you're not going to do business with me today.
Yeah.
All I want to know is when.
Yep.
So that I can manage my database. In my perfect world, I have 2 or 3 listings a month, and I have 2 or 3 listings sell per month.
Yep.
That's my perfect middle business model because I can probably check out at about 1 o'clock every day.
Go ride your bike,
running that business.
Yep.
So.
Okay, so let me phrase it this way, because you guys are passionate about what you do. You've done things that they proved to work, and you really dial down on those and go after them. Let's talk about the 2-day or the 2-year, the 5-year, the 7-year person who is in real estate right now, and it's just like, I'm struggling and I feel motivated, like I am inspired, but what I'm doing is not working. I'm just not getting business right now. How do you suggest that they stay motivated and that they stay inspired to go out and try new things, listen to what you're saying, get a mentor, get a coach, do something to begin to really start to set their business on fire?
I think Sean and I have done this together where he'll be like, hey, let's call together. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's call together, right?
Okay.
And so we found each other to play off of each other in that instance. Fun. Yeah, it's way more fun. It's better. I like the coaching groups that I run and that I've been a part of, that there's like-minded people, and I want to fly with the eagles. I don't want to fly with the pigeons. So if you want to fly with the eagles, you got to join the eagles, and you need to fly where they are. I think the other thing that Sean brought up is you need contacts, and you need a minimum of a certain amount of contacts. And if you go throughout your entire day and you're a real estate agent with maybe talking to one or two people that really weren't doing anything, like that's just going to eat away at you. Like you're a big ice block. You're just getting chipped away at every single day, and you're melting away. But as soon as you start making those contacts and you start saying, I'm going to do 15 to 25 contacts a day because my family needs me to, my business needs me to, my ego needs me to, that's when you're going to change. And that's when things are going to get better. And it goes down to what Sean said, like back in his day when he was going at it, 75 contacts, or he wasn't, that was his minimum. If you do 75 contacts a day, you're going to have like 10 to 20 listings a month. It's going to be unreal. Like that's hard. Then what you're going to have to do.
It's hard to do it the next day because you got leads.
Yes, exactly. It is. And I dealt with that too, man. There's times I listed like 20, 30 properties in a month. And I'm like, oh, and people are like, you're still doing your prospecting?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what I have to do.
I want to stop right there. Why is that important? Why is it important? Okay, you've caught some momentum, right? You're doing good. You've signed a few listings, working with a few buyers. You got some deals in escrow. Why is it important to continue hunting?
Because I'm going to go broke if I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. It's that simple.
Yeah.
The paychecks that I'm cashing today was work I did a year ago.
Boom.
Boom.
Right there. Yep.
Right there.
Yep. I like that.
Come on now.
Yeah. And the other thing is like, if you're stop prospecting, you're on a freaking real estate roller coaster. Here we go. We're doing great. Oh, now we're down and you're all bummed out. Now you got to work even harder. It's like when you stop working out.
Yeah.
And then you have to get back into shape. It's way harder. But if you would have just put 15 to 20 minutes in a day of stretching and doing some walking, then getting in better shape would have been so much easier. That's what I found with my database. Is like, if I worked that every single day, even if it was for an hour.
Right.
So I have an agent on our team right now that's been crushing it. And everybody's like, how do you do it? It's because what he does, even though he has 9, 10 escrows going at a time, I'll call him and be like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good, man. Sorry, I haven't had time to make my calls, but I'm going on this drive. It's going to take me 30 minutes to get to the listing appointment. I'm going to be calling those leads while I'm in the car. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And that's how he's doing it, right?
Right.
Because he's making time to make those calls.
Right.
And he has not had a roller coaster year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Number 7 in Yavapai County as a real estate agent.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you and I have talked multiple times about cold calling. We've talked about social media. We've talked about different ways to prospect.
Yeah.
Again, I want to talk to people who are uncomfortable in that world of cold calling and door knocking and those types of things. If they're just getting started with it, do you guys recommend finding a mentor or a coach, or what resources can they go to learn how to start making cold calls? Because a lot of people may think, I don't know what to say when I do make a call. Like what is the process of that? What questions do I ask? Where do they start? What resources or what kind of things do you recommend?
I say call them. Your resource is the seller.
Okay.
That's how you're going to learn, and you have a chance of making money.
Right.
Because you should practice. Certainly you should have a script. Certainly you should know what you're about to do.
Right.
But don't overthink it, because you have no chance of making money with James. You have no chance of making money with me.
Right.
But if you pick up the phone and call a potential seller, you might make a sale accidentally.
Right.
So, and then you're going to get better and better and better each time.
Yeah.
So I would say get a simple script that you're comfortable with. We've talked about different scripts we're comfortable with. We're not. My script is very short.
Okay.
It is literally, I don't know if I have the right number.
Can we do a role play?
Sure.
Let's do a role play. Go.
Hello? I'm not sure I have the right number. I was just wondering if we could speak to the owner of 1234 Main Street.
Yeah, this is him.
Okay. Hey, we were just calling to see if you've ever considered selling that property.
Well, we've actually been looking at kind of downsizing our rental portfolio, but, we've been talking to a couple of agents and whatnot, but probably this year we're actually going to sell 1 or 2 of those. So,
gotcha. Well, my name's Sean Miller with Realty One Group, and I'd love to meet with you. When would be a good time?
We're probably, again, it's going to happen this year. We're just starting into the holidays, so it'll probably be sometime in the spring or summer that we're going to be looking at list.
Gotcha. When would you recommend I follow up with you again?
Probably every 30 days or so would be good. You never know what's going to happen, and we're constantly throwing around these conversations. So probably maybe every 30 days. Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, again, I'm Sean Miller with Realty One Group. I'll be in touch. I appreciate your time today. Thanks for being friendly.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yep. That's great.
That's good.
And that's as simple as it has to be.
Yeah.
And the other thing you said is like, how are you going to find your scripts, right? Go on
I
YouTube.
do want to say
Yeah,
something
go
on
for
that, though. I'm interested in people that will meet with me now,
Yeah.
and I think we can screw it up
Yeah.
by trying to handle everything right now.
Yeah.
I tried to set an appointment with him,
Yeah.
and I know people will get deeper and deeper with people, but I'm not really interested in staying on the phone with him yet
Yeah.
until he's ready to talk to me more. I think there's more risk involved than that. I'm going to follow up with him shorter than he tells me
Yeah.
and hope that I'm going to be able to set an appointment with him. But
Do you do
there's also an
anything-
interest of time. I can
Yes.
talk to more people doing it that way.
So let me ask you this, though. If he said that he had a rental port, because I've ran into this before, right? That he had a rental portfolio that he's looking to sell maybe 1 to 2 houses in the next year. Are you going to be, what are your next steps? Are you sending a thank you card? Are you getting their email? What are you
I am
doing?
sending a thank you card right now.
Okay, cool.
Right now.
Yeah.
And I think as we go into a digital world, the saturation again,
Right.
the physical card has way more value than it did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Somebody opens up a physical card, I think that wins me listings, that one thing.
Yeah.
So it distracts me for 3 minutes,
Yeah.
right? If it's not automated.
Totally.
If you automate it, great. But mine's printed and hand signed, and the
Yeah.
envelope is hand addressed. So it distracts me a bit. But these are golden things right now, and I think that's actually one of the best marketing pieces.
Handwritten cards.
Handwritten card, right with the lead that goes out right now, because it's, hey James, thanks for talking to me.
Yep.
So probably he'll remember me. Hopefully he puts it aside.
Yeah.
Mm.
So and then I'm just going to call and say, hey, did you get my card?
Yeah. Perfect.
Interesting.
That's
Great.
such a great thing.
That's
You
good.
follow up with that as a rapport builder.
I've got $1 into marketing.
And guess who? How many other people have probably done that? Not very
Very
many.
good. And
Yeah.
here's what I love about this conversation is you and I have talked a lot about this before,
Yeah.
is social media,
Yeah.
right? Social media is effective. It's very effective to reach a lot of people.
Which is definitely the next thing I want to talk about.
We'll talk about social media, but I really like this because a lot of people like to discuss social media, but a lot of people like to use that as their main vein. And I feel like you have to have multiple veins in a business to make it successful. And I spend a lot of time and I use social media as a tool, but it is definitely not my only tool. I just use it because it's a tool. So I want to talk about social media, but I really like what you're saying because you don't hear that all the time anymore. You don't hear people writing handwritten notes and cards and stuff and sending them to prospects. And
Yeah.
I think it's very good. I think your saturation point is huge during this conversation when it's supply and demand. If most people are not doing it, that's exact same thing
Yeah.
that I should be doing. So, I mean, great point.
Are you good if we reverse that real quick and then
Yeah.
use my script on Sean and then
Go.
I'll break down exactly what I do towards the end of that? Okay.
By the way, I'm glad you spoke that you were the lead. I think when agents are practicing their scripts, we get the negative all the time
Yeah.
in cold calling. So you get really good at the negative, which means you end up being horrible at the positive.
And that's why I'm going to order this out. You're going to do the exact same thing
Okay.
I did. And I'm going to show you. And I'm going to show you how I
Yeah.
would get in the door and try hard and be pretty aggressive. And again, sometimes I can be a little aggressive.
So you're going to be a little more aggressive,
Yeah.
but you be a little bit more aggressive as well.
Perfect.
As the person on the other end. Okay.
Yeah.
Ring, ring.
Okay. Ring, ring. Hi. Good morning, Sean.
Oh no, is this another realtor?
Hey, Sean. It's James Mitchner with Realty One. How are you today?
You're my 1 billionth call this morning.
Oh man, I'm just doing some neighborhood prospecting. I can't believe you're getting some that many calls.
You
for your
realtors are
neighborhood.
all the same.
Yeah. Hey, Sean, real quick, I just got a quick question for you. That house on 123 Main Street, are you looking at selling that this year by chance?
I'm going to tell you what I've told everybody. We're going to sell it, but we're going to sell it when we're darn good and ready.
Okay, and I completely understand, Sean. Hey, quick question for you. When you said you're good, darn, and ready, is that this year? Is that 6 months, 3 months? When is that?
Yeah,
you
that's
think?
probably not going to be at least for another couple months.
A couple months. Okay, great. Sean, let me ask you this. Do you know what the price is of the house, what it would sell for in the current market?
How much would you give me?
Well, hey, that's what I wanted you to ask right there. How much would I give you, or how much would I get you, right? So if you're open to it, I'm actually going to be in the neighborhood either tomorrow at 1 to 4. I'm going to be showing some houses and I could stop by, or I'll be there next week.
I've got a roofer coming over if you want to stop by then, but I'm not listing with you, so don't be bringing any paperwork.
Oh, don't worry. I'll bring all the information for you, give you an appraisal of the house, show you what we could get in the current market.
Awesome. Bring your checkbook.
Okay, I'll bring my checkbook too. If it's something I want to buy, I might do that. I've done that a few times here and there. So thank you for taking my call, Sean. I will see you at 2:00 tomorrow, right after the roofer leaves for you. And if there's any questions, let me know. Real quick, can I get a quick email address so I can just send you some
We
information?
don't do email.
Oh, you don't do email. Perfect. And is this a good mailing address for you?
That's perfect.
Great. Okay, so I'll send you a card in the mail just as a quick reminder and a thank you, and stay front of mind. But I will see you at 2:00 right after the roofer leaves, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you for the time. Have a great day. So what I'm going to do is practice. Yeah, that was all practice, right? Like I knew all that stuff because I've done it so much. But let's do the script where I always said I have 1 or 2 rentals I'm going to sell, and don't go so hard on me because I almost cried. Okay?
I almost cried.
Yeah, don't go so hard on me. So ring.
Hello.
Good morning. Hey, Sean. This is James Mitchell with Realty One. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Hey, I was just calling about that house at 123 Main Street. Are you looking at selling that this year?
No, we've kind of switched gears. We're not going to sell that.
Okay. Did you say that you had a couple of rentals though that you're maybe looking at selling?
We do. We're kind of looking at our portfolio. We're not really interested in selling much of them, but there's a couple problem childs in that portfolio.
Yeah, I get that. I work with a lot of clients that have real estate, big real estate portfolios, and myself as well. And there's always that problem child. When are you maybe looking at selling those problem children? If you don't mind me asking?
We've got a tenant right now that we're in the middle of an eviction, and it's probably going to take us another 45 days. And that's when we're really going to be willing to talk about that one.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Do you have pricing on that, on what you're going to get out of it?
We kind of have an idea, but not really.
Yeah, it's always good to, I'm sure you're the same as me. You want to kind of know how much money you're going to get at the end of the transaction, maybe what the property's worth and what we can do to get you that number. Let me ask you this, Sean. I'm going to be in the area this week, Monday and Tuesday, probably between 1 and 4, or next week on Tuesday again. Would there be a time I could just stop by, give you some information, and show you what the house would be worth?
No, we're actually traveling this week. We won't be back till next Wednesday.
Okay, next Wednesday. What time on Wednesday?
Ooh, I'm not sure what to. Of course, I don't know what time our flight will get in. Why don't you give me a call on Thursday?
Yeah, that would be perfect. I can do that. And just real quick, is it okay if, just so I can put it in my calendar, we do a tentative time, maybe at 2:00 on Thursday, kind of give you a day break?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so we'll do 2:00. And then real quick, I'm going to send you the information before we meet so you can review it. And then when we meet in person, you can kind of go back and forth with me on questions about the comps I use, the price, and maybe what the net number is that you'll get at the end of the transaction. What's a good email address for you?
Sean@gmail.com.
Perfect. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that. And this is a good mailing address for you as well?
It is.
Perfect. So I'll see you tentatively on Thursday next week. You have an awesome trip. I'll get you the information, and you'll get a card from me as well, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. You have a great day. Thank you. Okay. Boom. But that's super aggressive, right? And I just kept pushing. And there's some people that are like, dude, you need to back the fuck. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I just want to work for you. That's all I want to do. But at that time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set them up with a home bot, right? That's going to give them a valuation on their house monthly where they're going to be able to go in and put the details in. I'm also going to put them into a mailer where we're going to mail them once a month, I'm going to send them a thank you card as well. Then that person is going to get into my follow-ups that I'm going to follow up with probably every week, but I'm not going to call them until that Wednesday or that Thursday of that appointment because I don't want to be bothering them too much. But I'm going to send them the CMA. I'm going to send them a thank you card. I'm going to put them in my system to mail every 30 days just in case they push me off a little bit, and then they're going to go in my dialer as well to follow up on a weekly, because I find that to be a pretty promising lead in my opinion, especially because they have multiple properties. But I'm not going to go too aggressive on that. But that's what I found that's worked for me. A thank you card with forgive-me-not seeds, because the wives always go, you sent those forgive-me-not seeds and I planted those. And then like in the springtime, if they're still not ready to sell, they're like, hey James, thanks for calling. I planted those forgive-me-not seeds and they're growing and it makes me think of you all the time. And I'm like, cool, good, it worked.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but those are some, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Practice your scripts and you could do either one of those.
Yeah. And that's, again, me and Sean conversing like that. That's just because we practice it. How many people have you called in your career?
Oh,
I mean, throw out a number.
I don't know, 30 years.
Yeah.
So
10, 15,000?
way more.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
way more.
Way more.
10, 15,000.
Way more.
Wait, you retired when?
2001.
2001, when you were 33,
Pretty much.
33 years old? Yeah.
Went flying.
And now
Went
what do you
flying.
get to do
So,
on a daily basis?
whatever I want.
Whatever you want, right? Yeah, and he's in great shape. He's a great mentor. He still works when he wants to,
Yeah.
but it's because he put in all the work
That's
in the
right.
beginning,
Yeah.
and he saved the money, and he put it away. That's the same thing. I followed the same exact path, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't fully retire at 33, so
Yeah, fully. I mean, but
sometimes I wish.
No,
I just can't do it.
But
Yeah.
this is where my skill set is. So
Yeah.
that's why I find after I flew for a few years, I love doing that. But I talked about not liking waiting for things to happen. Flying is a lot of waiting for things to happen.
Yeah.
So it didn't really appeal to me. I love the teaching, but sometimes the weather would roll in. Sometimes a
Yeah.
student doesn't show up. Sometimes they're not prepared. And then
Right.
my day is kind of half of it wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we talked about your wife getting her license here soon.
Wow.
What's the advice that you've given her? Right?
Similar to that, it's not complicated. Before she got her license, I told her there's so much noise in our business. There's all kinds of things coming at you that this is the magic answer that's going to make you a lot of money.
Yeah.
And none of them by themselves work. You were talking about different things you could do. I think you need to diversify yourself. You need to go after expireds, for sale by owners, cold call, door knock, and do the thing you will do. You need to make contacts. All of those things that people are trying to get you to do make it sound like the business is easy. It's not. You got this guy competing with you.
Yeah.
So you need to go out there and be
Yeah.
proactive and get after it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess the simple answer is don't let things distract you.
Yeah.
The essence of the business is talking to people.
And we are
It's
in
that simple.
And we are in a world of distractions more
Oh,
than
yeah.
ever before. My phone rings off the hook. I get all these notifications on my phone, and I'm like, I just want to be left alone. So what do I do when I'm calling? It's do not disturb. The only person that's getting through is my freaking wife, and that's it. Otherwise, nobody else is
That's
bothering.
great
Yeah.
advice. That is
Yeah.
great advice. Right
Knock
there.
on my door.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I'm busy. I'm calling. Like I'm
Right.
doing my money-making activities
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
My joke in real estate when I ran a brokerage was it seemed like some of our agents could spend all day designing a flyer for their property.
Yeah.
They would take
Oh my
great
gosh.
pride in this flyer that they had
Right.
spent 10
Yeah.
hours producing.
Yeah.
And that is not good use of your time. And I would say almost everything in our business is not good use of our time as it
Yeah.
relates to doing a deal.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Great information. You mentioned that you wanted to discuss social media a little bit. You and I have talked a lot about it. We've never talked about social media, so I don't know what your thoughts are. So I'm very excited to hear about that. Why don't you just start off? What are your thoughts on social media for real estate agents?
I think it's an incredible distraction for me.
Yeah.
So I think I have never gotten into using it as marketing, and shame on me. But I think as you go through your day, you just rattled off like 10 tools that you use. And I thought that would be very intimidating to a new licensee. Listen, they're
Right.
thinking, what is it even?
Right.
How much does it cost? How do I
Right.
learn it? So we just stacked up a bunch of things. So I would say, as it relates to social media, I would say every week or two, when you're doing your prospecting and your cold calling and all these things and you're getting your contacts, start testing out new things, which is how you've evolved to where you're at.
Perfect.
So as it gets
Boom.
to social
Bingo.
media, put
That's
that
huge.
one thing
Yeah.
on and start putting your listings, start telling people
Right.
what you're doing. Do not create a bunch of admin that take, by the way, you're really stink at your admin.
Yeah.
So you're
Right.
distracting yourself now all day long and you're not doing the first thing.
Right.
So
add one thing a week, I would say.
let me ask you this real quick, because we wanted to talk about the real estate roller coaster and not how to not get into that. And we said more prospecting, but that's great. But there's other prospects that you have to work with, and there's offers coming in, there's paperwork that needs to be done, there's listings that need to be done,
There's life.
there's life. So what do you do if you still need to prospect because you're getting the business? What do you do with the other 2/3 of the business that is the paperwork and handling the escrows?
Mhm.
What should somebody do?
I think they should use a TC.
Okay.
I don't,
Yeah.
but I'm going to say everybody should.
But back in your day, you probably did.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I did.
Yeah,
We had
let's talk
staff in
about
our
your,
office.
when you're.
But I would say that everybody should use a TC. The only reason I don't is because if I'm doing 2 transactions a month, it's almost not worth the hassle.
Yes, I
Right?
get it. Yeah,
So if 2 transactions is my goal and my learning curve has been taken care of,
yeah,
for the agent that doesn't have that learning curve, have TC do it.
yeah.
right? For me, it's just as easy just for me to do it.
Right.
But when you were in your heyday, you had assistants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because you were going to get business.
So I would say that the top priorities for me, we talked about this just the other day.
Yeah.
The top priority is the hot lead that needs following up on, and the appointment.
Right.
Everything needs, what was it the other day? Somebody had an appointment or something that they pushed off or something. For me, if I've got a list, somebody wants to write an offer or somebody wants an appointment, all things come off my calendar because all of this work that we're talking about right now lead to that thing.
Oh yeah.
So I do not put that stuff off.
Yeah.
If I can meet with somebody today instead of tomorrow, I meet with them today.
Yeah.
It doesn't get put off.
Yeah.
If I can write that offer today, I will write it today.
Yeah.
In fact, if somebody's wanting to write an offer at 7:00 at night, I'm going to write it tonight.
Yeah.
Not because I want to, not because life, but because the house might be sold in multiple offers tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
I would rather try to secure it as an insurance policy and get the work done because I've done all that work.
Right.
So that's a service thing too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also offering good service to my client, but from a business perspective, it increases my chances of success.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
That's a great point.
And so you had talked about social media, like adding that into your business. And so I started doing that as well. Probably like 2 years in, I started posting more about my listings. I started posting more about like some of the rental properties I bought, the success of my team members, my success on selling. And so I would post every couple of days, right? At one point it was every single day. It became a little too much. And so my friends were like, dude, all you're posting about is business. Like you got to put some personal in there. So I mix it up. Now I do 3 days business, 4 days personal. And me and Bo were talking about this exact topic at a Modern Coffee. And he said, well, do you find it social media important? I'm like, yeah, because people will call me and be like, hey, my son told me about you. You guys went to high school together. You're doing really well in real estate. So will you come over for an appointment? Just tell me what my house is worth and what we can do. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And as I'm getting done pretty much saying that sentence to Bo, giving him that example, I get a tap on my shoulder and I look back and it's one of my favorite clients, Paula. She's like, hey, I see how good you're doing with your real estate business.
How you're motivating people.
How you're motivating people. I'm telling people about you with your real estate business. And she does. I mean, I've gotten a handful of referrals with her. How often do I talk to Paula? Not very often. Once, twice a year, maybe 3 times. But how often does she see me and sees my stuff? Almost every single day because she's on social media.
And I look at it, I've talked a lot about social media as being attention. So you're gaining attention at scale. The thing though that I've been thinking more about lately is it's passive touches. So you're not having to make a call to a person to make that touch. You can be posting about business or about personal. I honestly think that personal more often is better. More than business. The reason for that is because people want to resonate. So like what you were talking about earlier, do things that you love. I think that real estate agents should go and do things that they love, but they should document those things and put it on their social media so that people at scale can see that those are your interests, because a lot of them may have the same interests. Now you resonate with them on a personal level and you have things that you both love. That makes it it makes yourself more approachable for them to now reach out and say, hey, let's go play pickleball.
Yeah. So Nate brought up a friend of ours that runs a media company close by. Yeah. And I sold him a house. Okay. I met him through a cycling event I put on Facebook. Yeah. Nice. So it was a month-long cycling thing. Oh, yeah. He took part. We became friends. Yep. So again, I always try to disclaim myself. My motivation was not real estate. My motivation was to go hang out with some like-minded people in cycling. And I did real estate.
Right. Yep. I think that's a really good point, because you could prospect. You're going to get burnt out probably at 4 hours a day, right? So fill your time with stuff that you like doing. When you do stuff that you like doing, you'll be happy. There'll be people around you that are happy because they're doing what they want to do. You become friends. You build that relationship. Then you start building your sphere of influence.
The problem is there's not enough of that.
There isn't. That's why you have to do that 3 to 4 hours of prospecting, right? Yeah. So we have to make sure that we're in that 8-hour work week or 8-hour work day, that you're doing that prospecting, and then you're doing something like going to a club, or you're volunteering,
learning Spanish. I was taking some Spanish classes. I think I did 8 or 10 deals out of that Spanish class.
Boom! Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's perfect. I coach soccer, and I had so many people that were like, "Hey, what are you doing outside of this?" I'm like, "Oh, I sell real estate." They're like, "Oh, no way, let me get your phone number." Right. We have this or that we want to do. Right. Which is great.
Well, and a lot of people have different opinions on this, but go and do the things that you love, but always have yourself branded as real estate. I know some people who absolutely murder it because they have like this funny joke slogan that says stuff about real estate. So it's all over their real estate, but they don't ever mention it. They're playing pickleball, they're coaching soccer, they're in the grocery store, and people come up to them and say, random people will say, I heard that it's a horrible time to buy right now because of interest rates. You're obviously in real estate. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
That opens the door to have a conversation at least.
And that's easier than door knocking.
It's easier than door knocking. They come to you. You're
More
attracting
fun,
them.
too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's huge. I think branding, and the reason I enjoy social media is because of you can do those things at scale.
Yeah.
You work less, right? But you're accomplishing the same thing. You're making touches. I call them passive touches, right? You're just touching people without having to contact them directly. And so, and they get to see you as a person. They get to see you as a father, as a husband, that you like pickleball, that you like to fly, that you like whatever.
Yeah.
And then they get to resonate with you on that level. So that's what I like about it.
Can we talk about one more thing? And I know this has been like a huge amount of information.
Oh, go.
Okay. Building financial freedom through real estate, through being a real estate agent. I think that's so important. And you do the 3 to 4 hours of prospecting. You're going for listings and you're trying to get some buyers out of that maybe as well. But think about the deals that you can get out of that also. Because if you're making that many calls and you're going to make it that many deals, you're going to have commission that you need to put somewhere besides just in a new car or all these vacations. You're going to need to save some of that.
Right.
And I can't tell you how many deals I got from prospecting that are now my rental properties or became my fix and flip, or I talked to an investor that borrows money from me. I mean, I just signed a note. I'm loaning a guy $300,000 on the duplex that he's building.
Right.
That's going to pay me 10% interest for the next year, right, on $300,000.
Yeah.
And that came from prospecting because he knew who I was. And he's like, dude, I'm giving you a chance now. I was actually going to call you when this expired. You called me first. Here we go. So there. And then there's other people that are like, yeah, I need to get rid of this house, but I don't want to show it. I don't want to work with a real estate agent. Well, do you mind if I stop by and take a look at it and maybe buy it for myself? So many of my my wife told me today, because real estate's been tough. So one of my Airbnbs isn't doing that well. One of my flips isn't doing well. I'm closing on a flip on the 19th that I'll make 120 grand on, which is great. So there's positives. My wife's like, there's ups and downs and you made a ton of money on your investments and other stuff in real estate. I'm like, yeah, millions of dollars. I've literally made millions of dollars from prospecting because I've gotten listings. I've turned those listings into commissions. I've turned that commission into rental property and other investments, which gave me the opportunity to take the day off yesterday with my family,
That's it.
and go on vacation.
And you asked earlier what would motivate a new licensee. I think that's the key thing, is what really does motivate you. You can make good money in real estate, and it always feels kind of strange to me that you have to go beyond that. You have to get to where you can put money aside.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds kind of arrogant sometimes, but the alternative is work till you die.
Right.
And that's a motivator for me, is there needs to be some extra. And part of the extra is making more than you need. A part of it is keeping your expenses in check. And we talk about that a lot. When I was new to the business, I was scared to death. I had no money. So I always kept my lifestyle in check.
Yeah.
So as I made more and more money, my lifestyle really didn't change that much.
Yeah.
So when I decided to check out and become a pilot, making $500 a month
Wow.
as a pilot,
Yeah.
I could do it.
Yeah. Listen,
So I could go pursue that dream knowing that I didn't need the income.
Yeah.
because you worked really hard from 20 to 33,
Right.
you were able to take a pay cut of probably 99%, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
about
let's-
100%. Yeah. I sold my company and moved to Prescott.
Yeah.
So all of my sales went away and my company income went away.
Yeah. So
it went
you're
to
able
zero.
do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you invest in real estate,
Correct.
because you invest in what you know.
But I don't want to play that up any more than really you got to keep your expenses in check.
Yeah,
I could have.
That's huge.
I could have
think
gone
that's
and
huge.
spent it all.
Yes.
Right.
Well, that's a common thing in the NFL.
Yeah.
You guys heard that before?
Oh, yeah.
You know, these NFL players make millions, but they just go out and buy the big houses and the big cars and all these things.
Very analogous.
Then they end up broke.
Very analogous.
Yeah.
So get yourself tracking what your reasonable income is, putting some away, stay on that lifestyle, raise your income,
Yeah.
stay on that lifestyle,
Yeah.
invest,
Yeah.
stay on that lifestyle, and then maybe give yourself a bonus.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
It wasn't until maybe a year or two ago. I just bought my wife an $86,000 2024 Toyota Sequoia. The whole drive there, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to buy this car. I can't believe I'm going to buy this car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my wife's like, dude, you could buy this car like 20, 30 times if you wanted to. And I'm like, yeah, but still, it's just buying that car because I've held on my expenses so long that I was like, I need to live off of 20 to 30, maybe 40% of my income.
Right.
And now we're letting go a little bit because we've made it. I don't know. I don't even know if we ever make it because we talked about this. We've talked about
that's a whole nother podcast. One of the motivators that keeps me working, and I don't like when this conversation comes up because of the way the world is, but inflation and healthcare are part of what keeps me working.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not because I'm necessarily afraid of it. It's because of the unknown.
Right. Okay. Right.
So if the unknown is what motivates you, that's part of what motivates me to stay at it.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
For sure. Yeah.
Gosh, I talk to these guys all day long. I mean, it's really awesome. And I know that we have to wrap things up and stuff, but I do want to hit on this point. I know both of you are very open to talk to people in the industry about the issues that they're having and the problems that they're trying to overcome. I actually just typed in here, I love messing around with ChatGPT and stuff. And I asked for 15 of the biggest mistakes new agents make when they're just getting started. And one of them was failure to seek guidance.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the main reasons a lot of people fail to seek out guidance is because they don't want to talk to other people that they consider competitors, or they don't want to feel like they don't want to be looked at like they need help or whatever. How important is it that people search out guidance to you guys?
In life, not just real estate.
Yeah.
In life, not just real estate. Maybe one of the most important things in life.
I can tell you right now that my career would have never taken off if I didn't listen to that coach that was at our brokerage that said you need to sit down and dial.
Yeah.
Because he gave me guidance and he showed me how to do it.
Yeah.
And he said, get the numbers from this place. You can use this dialer and just use this little script and go after it. And I used that for maybe 3 months and then I just took off, right? But that's also why me and you are friends, because you still help me. And hopefully I still help you in some way.
Absolutely.
And we feed off of each other. But there's another top producer here in town that me and him will go to lunch maybe once a year. Yeah. And we are the number 1 and number 2 agents. And sometimes I'm number 1, sometimes he's number 2. He's always number 1 at the end of the year because, but we'll always get back and forth, right? But we will share ideas and we'll talk about stuff, right? But Sean and I would always reach out to each other. There's a lot of agents that are top producers that we call each other and talk to each other because we are Eagles and we want to fly with the Eagles, And the more I get back to other people, the better. And I've gone to seminars where I've learned so much. I've been in group coaching where I've learned so much. I've been in one-on-one coaching where I've learned so much. Yeah. And I have one of my team members who's up and coming. She's amazing. She'll be on your podcast. Mm-hmm. And she goes, James, how much money have you spent on coaching? I'm like, over $100,000. She's like, what? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, but I was making over $1 million a year for every single year for the past 5 years. Because of those coaches and what I learned and the systems I implemented and the people that were in those groups giving me these little bits of knowledge that I implemented.
The thing that you said there that stood out that I want everybody to take away from is the systems that you implemented. I think that so many people hear all these people talk on social media and they get motivated for a second and they put their phone down and then they get lazy again. I think that one of the greatest things is what you said. Meet with these mentors, talk with coaches, sit on coaching calls, but then go out and execute. Yeah. Go out and execute the things that James and Sean are telling you to do because they've proven that it works. Yeah. But they put in the work, and so do you. And this is the whole reason I'm doing this podcast, is that to bring these guys on to help you guys. And so listen up and execute.
There's one more piece of advice. If you don't make it in real estate, you go work at Home Depot or you go work at a traditional job, and they will tell you what to do from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Why don't you just make your schedule for yourself of you starting from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock and doing the activities that are going to keep you in real estate and bring money to the table and food to the table for your family, instead of you having to say, hey, I got to go to work. I can't take the time off, even though our son's sick, because you failed at real estate. Because if you fail at real estate, you're going to build somebody else's dream and you're going to take away your career. So set this up, set your time blocking, set your schedule, because if you don't set your schedule, there's going to be a time where the schedule is going to be set for you.
Yeah. Okay, before we wrap up, Sean, Any closing thoughts for the people watching or listening?
Implement it. Talk is cheap.
Yeah.
Take one thing. I love that Gary Keller book, The One Thing.
Yep.
Just take one thing you're going to do tomorrow and do it. Stop talking about it.
Yeah, I love it. Set your schedule up and do what others aren't doing. Do the hard stuff. Hard times make strong men, right? Easy times make soft men.
Yeah.
Soft men make hard times. When you go through hard times, you're going to build a better future for yourself. And there's going to be less people going the extra mile. How many people go the extra mile? Not a lot. That trail is short.
Yep.
And the hard stuff is where the money's at.
Yeah.
And the harder the activity that you're doing, the more money that's going to be there and the less competition will be there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So just go for the hard stuff. Challenge yourself. It's for your family. It's for your future.
Absolutely. Well, you guys killed it. James, thank you again. Appreciate it. Sean, thank you. Thank you guys for tuning into this one. I think that you guys should take so much away from this. Hopefully you took notes and hopefully you go out and execute what these two guys talked about, because this is it. They've proven that it works. They've made a great life for themselves by doing it, and so can you. So go get after it. See you next time.
Thanks, guys.